Hey, what's going on, Heights Church? My name is Bronson Aalgaard, and I'm the student ministries pastor here, and I'm going to be continuing our Devo of leadership styles. I love that we've been able to visit a bunch of different types of leaders and their different styles. I think it's so essential to know and realize that all leaders are different. They all have different styles, and it doesn't mean they're not as good as another leader. But today, we're going to be talking about a specific leader with a specific trait. Leaders that hold on and trust their values, even if it's at a personal cost. Leaders have integrity. Man, I think this is so key and vital. Pastor Craig, I know this one is so important for him and everybody on staff here at Heights Church. And today, we're going to be visiting a story that might seem a little familiar. We've been in a series called Committed, and we've been talking about the life of Daniel and how he has been committed. And believe it or not, Daniel stayed committed to God. I know, very surprising. I know. So today we're going to jump into Daniel 6 and look at a moment where he's actually set up. And what happens is some of his, we'll put co-workers on there to make it more relatable for us, don't really like Daniel. They are a little bit jealous. They can tell that he's at a great work. They try to find a reason to get him into trouble, but they couldn't because Daniel had integrity in everything he did. So they made up a reason for him to get in trouble. The people around him went to the king and said, hey, you should sign a law that over this next period of time, if anybody worships anything except for you, they will be thrown into a den of lions. And we find ourselves in Daniel 6. Let's take a look at it real quick. It says this, but when David learned that the law had been signed, he went home, knelt in his usual and upstairs room with its window open towards Jerusalem. He prayed 3 times a day, just as he had always done, giving thanks to his God with a capital G. Then the officials went together to Daniel's house, found him praying and asking for God's help. So they went straight to the king and reminded him about his law. Did you not sign a law that for the next 30 days, any person who prays to anyone, divine or human, except to you, your majesty, will be thrown into a den of lions? Well, we see here that Daniel's in a tough situation. He holds value to what's most important to him, and that is his God. Our God. And no matter what happens, he holds on to what he values. I think that's why Daniel attracted so many people around him. I think that's why Daniel actually had a lot of people who looked up to him, as we found in scripture. And here's what happens. Daniel's thrown into the lion's den. We've all heard it. And we've looked further into Daniel in verse 19. It says this, very early the next morning, the king got up, hurried out to the lion's den. When he got there, he called out in anguish, Daniel, servant of the living God, was your God, whom you serve so faithfully, able to rescue you from the lion's den? I want to pause real quick, and let's recognize that this king loves Daniel. He favors Daniel, because Daniel has always been at a great work. Daniel has always had great integrity. And Daniel always shows up because the things he values the most is what's empowering him in his life. And the king values that. So the king is worried the next morning. He wants Daniel to live. And here's what it says. Daniel answered, long live the king. My God sent his angel to shut the lion's mouth so that they would not hurt me. For I have been found innocent in his sight, and I have not wronged you, your majesty. So let's be really, really clear. Daniel held firm to what he valued most, and he trusted that even in a moment's time where he was at risk, his life was at risk, He trusted what he valued most. And I personally think it's what we should all value most as leaders, and that is God. I hope this has been good for you as it's been for me, and we'll see you next time.